God exists. On the evening of March 8, 2005, he was seen at Stamford Bridge. Ignoring Roman Abramovich, he headed straight onto the field, where a battle between Chelsea and Barcelona was raging. A battle that for him was just a game. Receiving the ball, he stopped time. The situation looked complicated. Many opponents and little space. The gained seconds were spent on a dance and searching for a solution, and then the ball ended up in the corner of the goal. Almost no one understood what happened, and those who did couldn't say anything. Such beauty is indescribable. Divine skill. On the back of the creator was the name Ronaldinho, a player created by God to teach people to love football. The feeling of those who do not believe in miracles, Ronaldinho began to experience from childhood. When Brazil was swept by the news of the emergence of another Pelé, no one could believe it. The youth team of Grêmio won with a score of 23-0. All the goals in the match were scored by one player, a young boy who enjoyed the game and couldn't stop. After training at the club academy, he would go to the beach to hone his skills in more challenging conditions, on the sand against older guys. Regularly competing with older opponents, he earned a nickname that he made famous worldwide. The diminutive Inho was added to the name Ronaldinho, hinting at his age and size compared to his opponents. By the age of 17, Ronaldinho had become the top prospect in a country that lives and breathes football, passionately discussing every talent. However, when Ronnie was born, Brazil was savoring not only football treats, suffering from the general's whip. The country was enduring the final days of a military dictatorship. The consequences of its rule introduced Ronaldinho to the poverty of the favelas. Ronnie's family overcame the tough times using the method familiar to Brazilians, through football. And this happened long before Ronaldinho became a professional. God gives gifts to everyone, he said upon receiving the Ballon d'Or. The gift turned out to be circumstances. Being born in Porto Alegre narrowed the choice of his first team to two options. This city in southern Brazil is known for the rivalry between International and Grêmio, one of the hottest derbies in South America. Little Ronnie didn't get to choose. When he was taking his first steps in football, his older brother was already knocking on the doors of Grêmio's first team. At the age of 7, Ronaldinho lost his father, so his brother became his idol, example, and mentor. The family tragedy became a source of motivation. His father had promised that his son would play for the Brazilian national team. When temptations arose to stray from the chosen path, Ronnie always remembered his father, knowing he couldn't let him down. Diligently following in his brother's footsteps, the younger son became the main footballer of the family. The reason for his rapid progress was explained by Grêmio's coach, Celso Roth. I have seen many great talents, but Ronaldinho is head and shoulders above the rest. The father's prophecy came true quickly. Ronaldinho debuted in the national team before he grew his signature mane. His first match in the golden jersey was closely watched by Latvia. The Brazilians played a friendly against this country's team before the start of the Copa América 99. By making an assist, the wunderkind from Grêmio confirmed that he was not in the main team by chance. Ronaldinho Gaucho, we have our own medal lexicon. Lionel Chelsea won the Copa America for the first time at 34 years old. Ronaldinho did it at 19 years old. Being the youngest player on the team, in his debut major tournament, Ronnie held the status of a substitute, coming on 4 times. But even a secondary role couldn't hide his magic. He first came on as a substitute in the 70th minute of the match against Venezuela, and 4 minutes later, he scored a goal. A goal that became one of the best in the history of Copa America. Ronaldinho's carefree smile created the image of a genius, blessed by God, to whom everything comes easily. In reality, behind every simple move were thousands of tireless repetitions. Ronnie revealed the secret of his success in one of his first interviews when he was 17. In any corner of the world, no matter the profession, it's difficult to establish oneself. There are many skillful footballers in Brazil. Talent alone is not enough. You need to work, fight, and never give up. Ronaldinho went from being a substitute to a guaranteed starter in the national team in just 2 weeks. Right after the triumphant performance in the Copa America, Brazil headed to the Confederations Cup. During the transition, the team lineup underwent significant changes. Most of the foreign players left the national team, giving a chance to players from the national championship. Ronaldinho took advantage of it better than anyone else. He scored in every match except the final, where Brazil lost to Mexico. Becoming the best player of the tournament, the Grêmio prodigy sent a signal to European clubs about the birth of a new star.
In the Coast District, even games, but
Securing his place in the main squad of Grêmio, young Ronnie scored 50 goals over 2 seasons. An impressive statistic, but even that pales in comparison to his main asset, improvisation. Creativity was always at the core of his game. Whether on the beach or at Stamford Bridge, he played the same way. You can't win without enjoying yourself. The greatest pleasure, Grêmio fans, experienced it in another derby against International, when their new idol humiliated the opponent's captain with 2 magical tricks. The captain was the great Dunga, a World Cup champion.
And the weather. Everything about the city and 3 flew in, bringing the circles closer. Dad, do you even like Pa?
Year.
Fans will return to these episodes 10 years later, when Ronaldinho's career with the national team takes a devastating hit. Ronaldinho is confident that his success in Barcelona would not have been possible without the move to PSG. However, the road to the French capital was shrouded in secrets. The Brazilian could have easily ended up on the other side, the English Channel. He was invited by Arsenal, but issues with documents prevented him from obtaining a work permit in the UK. The story with fake passports would repeat after his career ended, landing the football star behind bars. According to the official version, Ronaldinho chose PSG because his brother insisted on it, considering Paris the ideal transit point for a transfer to a top club. Not spoiled by oil money, Paris Saint-Germain seized the opportunity with both hands, acquiring the unique talent for just 5 million euros. In Paris, they hoped that Ronnie would become the new Rai, a club legend who shone in the mid-90s. Ronaldinho turned out to be cooler than Rai, but not for PSG. The Brazilian is grateful to Paris and the French championship for a comfortable adaptation to European standards. In the team, he found the perfect mentor in JJ Okocha, a player with a similar philosophy and technical potential. By the way, PSG bought the Nigerian for 3 seasons earlier, paying 3 times more for him than for Ronnie. Often because of Okocha, Ronaldinho started matches on the bench. The reward for patience came at the end of the season on the fields of Japan and Korea, which hosted the World Cup. Ronaldinho did it at 22. At that time, the Brazilians needed mental resilience. A year before the start of the World Cup, the team went through a very difficult period, barely making it through the qualifiers. In 9 months, they changed 4 coaches. Numerous problems led to Brazil losing its usual status as favorites before the World Championship. Only a miracle allowed them to hope for another final. But miracles happen when the attack is led by 3 great magicians. Ronaldinho scored 15 goals between them. Brazil won all their matches, achieving the coveted status of pentacampeões. Ronaldinho adorned the tournament with another masterpiece, scoring from a long-range free kick, lobbing the ball over David Seaman.
It continued further in its journey.
The quarter-final against the English was memorable for Ronnie not only for the characteristic goal, but also for an unusual sending off. The red card was a signal. Few could imagine that the heir to Pelé scored his last goal in World Cups. Ronaldinho won his first major trophies with the national team. His time at PSG ended without any titles. His personal statistics confirmed that Paris was merely a stepping stone. 17 goals and 14 assists in 55 league matches. However, numbers do not speak the language of magic. Wherever Ronnie played, when he left, no one talked about the number of goals and titles. Everyone remembered his beautiful play. Before moving to Barcelona, the Brazilian scored the best goal of the season in League One, elegantly carrying the ball from the center of the field through half of the opposing team. Numbers start to understand magic when it comes to money. After buying the Brazilian for 5 million, 2 seasons later, PSG sold him for 6 times the price. The transfer to Barcelona might not have happened if it weren't for chance and David Beckham. For the first time, when running for the presidency of Barcelona, Joan Laporta promised the purchase of a star. Ronaldinho was on the list, but he wasn't a priority. After Thierry Henry's categorical refusal, the Blaugrana entered negotiations with Beckham, which ended even worse. You couldn't make this up. The Englishman moved to Real Madrid. Ronaldinho's transfer seemed like a last-minute option, but in the end, it became one of the best acquisitions in Barca's history. He marked an era of great victories. This is not just Golnet's opinion, but also that of the main figures of the golden period. Xavi and Messi unanimously stated that the turning point for the Catalan club was the purchase of Ronaldinho. The Brazilian smile helped Camp Nou forget the troubled times. At the time of Ronnie's arrival, Barcelona had not won La Liga for 4 years, having slipped to 6th place. In the next 3 seasons, the club won the goal twice and also conquered the Champions League. For the first time in 14 years. Ronaldinho was not just the architect of victories, he added incredible charm to them. Discussing the transfers of Beckham and Ronaldinho, one of Real's directors said, "You can't sell Ronaldinho's face, but with Beckham everyone wants to do business with us." A debatable statement for football. If there is such a thing as sexy football in the world, as Ruud Gullit described, then Ronaldinho was its main creator. The Brazilian's game always concealed the beauty of unpredictability, regularly making the impossible possible. When receiving the ball, Ronaldinho captivated those around him with his freedom. No one knew what would happen in the next second, but everyone wanted to see it. Ronaldinho. The 2005-2006 season made Ronaldinho a prisoner of his own skill. Literally everyone who saw his game now believes that the Brazilian did not fully realize his potential. Even a few such companies could have turned him into the king of football. In 45 matches he scored 26 goals and made 23 assists. But statistics will always be only half of the story. They cannot describe what Ronnie did on the field. This was attempted by Philip Cocu, who played on the same team as Ronaldinho. The speed of his movements and thinking was incredible. In a second he could touch the ball. 4 times. Repeating such moves, he would surely have broken his legs. Without becoming the best, Ronaldinho entered the list of the greats. In November 2005, the Santiago Bernabéu erupted in applause for a Barcelona player. This happened for the 2nd time in history. The first to bring the Madrid crowd to their feet was Diego Maradona, and the second was Ronaldinho. Barcelona crushed Real in El Clásico with a score of 3-0, and the Brazilian scored 2 magnificent goals. Time and again, he destroyed opponents on the left flank of the attack. Ronaldinho. "I will never forget this," said the hero of the evening with tears in his eyes after the game. But even more magical memories are associated with Camp Nou. For this stadium, the Brazilian became a legend alongside Cruyff, Maradona, and Messi. He was an excellent mentor for Leo, but the golden era outlived its founder. In Pep Guardiola's legendary team, there was room for only one free-spirited creator. That was Lionel Messi. It is generally believed that footballers reach their peak at 28 years old. Ronaldinho's unconventional style had an impact here as well. For the Brazilian, on the contrary, it marked the beginning of his decline. Ronnie left Barcelona in a disassembled state. He missed half of the last season due to injuries. It seemed that Milan could be a great place to reboot his career. But the timing was unfortunate. Carlo Ancelotti's great team had passed its period of major victories. Ronaldinho's problems in Italy were explained by the coach himself. His decline did not surprise me. His skill was never in doubt, but his physical condition was very difficult. It wasn't so much the injuries that were the problem, but his attitude towards recovery from them. The Brazilian lost his balance. He preferred entertainment off the field to joy on it. Without physical sharpness, the aura of magic suffered irreparable losses. The only motivation left was the World Cup. Having the status of the best footballer on the planet, Ronaldinho performed poorly at the World Cup in Germany, so 4 years later, he intended to take revenge. He made every effort to get people talking about him again. The Brazilian became the top assistant in Serie A, providing 15 assists, and also added 12 goals to them. However, the coach of the Brazilian national team was Dunga. It is unknown whether the coach remembered those tricks with which young Ronnie humiliated him. But Ronaldinho did not make it to the World Cup squad. In the end, everyone lost. Pragmatic Brazil was eliminated in the quarterfinals again, and football experienced the end of a beautiful era. The legendary performances of Ronaldinho remained in the past. Leaving Italy, the Brazilian formally won Serie A, having played 11 matches in the championship and not scoring a single goal. You cannot win without enjoying yourself. Having left the European radar, the player longed for his former glory, wandering through American clubs. Over 5 seasons, he changed 4 teams. Ronaldinho did not settle down even after retiring, starting to get into troublesome situations. In 2019, Brazilian authorities seized 57 properties belonging to the footballer, based on tax evasion charges. A year later, Ronaldinho lost his freedom entirely, and this happened in a neighboring country. The Brazilian crossed the Paraguayan border with a fake passport. The tricks were over. Ronnie was sentenced to 6 months in prison. However, he spent only 32 days behind bars, serving the rest of the sentence under house arrest. While in custody, the star footballer participated in a prison futsal tournament. As before, the ball makes him free, allowing him to bring joy to people. If a smile extends life, then watching Ronaldinho play can be an eternity. This is how football should be.